The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
14:20 in the morning, 14 minutes and 20 seconds where the sports talk to get you through your daily commute. Hot takes, recaps, best bets, and a little humor to get your day going in the right direction. Sit back, grab your coffee, and let's get into it. All right, 14:20 in the morning for the September 12th, 2023. Today's show was brought to you by SeatGeek.com, the SeatGeek app. Use promo code 1420POD at SeatGeek.com today and save yourself $20 on your first purchase. Remember, we are part of the Belly Up Media Network. Go to bellyupsports.com for all their great articles and other podcasts such as the Corner Booth podcast, Actually, Crap Root Sports is on tonight. But make sure you guys watch the clock Mountain Standard Time. It's going to be interesting to see how Caesar is once he gets revved up about his Texas Longhorns beating the Alabama Crimson Tide on Saturday night. I was excited about that one. I'm not even a Crimson or a Texas fan. But anyways, thanks for making this part of your day each and every day here at 14:20 in the morning. Reported on Sunday afternoon, I think it was, that Bob Nightingale, he came out and said, of USA Today's fame, he came out and said that the Mike Trout era might be coming to an end, that Mike Trout is open to a trade away from the Los Angeles Angels, Anaheim Angels, Los Angeles, California Angels of Anaheim, whatever they're called. This week and every week there, something changes there in Anaheim. Things haven't been going well for Mike Trout there this season. He's been injured. He's been injured quite a bit this year. He's only played in 82 games, I believe, this season. You have a guy there that hasn't had he's a great player, but the victories have not come. We reported that here a ton on 14:20 and everywhere that you listen to sports podcasts and everything else, that the Trout era has not been a great one for the team in general. And you look at what the Angels have done when they had the two of the best players in the game, two of the best players ever play the game, with Shohei Ohtani and the like, and with Trout, that they haven't been able to put the rest of the team together. Anthony Rendon this season, when he started out there with the bad news, the bad situation that they had with the zero war and the getting in an argument with a fan the first night of the season in Oakland, and it just went from bad to worse there in Oakland or in Anaheim this year. And it's an odd situation. This report would come out as it did, because earlier in August, Mike Trout said he would be open for a conversation with the way the team's going, which he's probably been doing year in, year out. You have that kind of a contract and that kind of money being owed to Mike Trout. You got to think that he's going to be included with the GMs and ownership and the baseball operations staff about what's been going on. So I don't think that this report is that news groundbreaking or newsworthy, really, when it comes down to it, because you got to think that Trout's been involved with these, like I said, with these conversations in the past before, and want to know where the team is moving forward, and if they're going to think about being a championship contender or they're championship pretender, or if they're in a rebuild and everything else. And all this probably is one team, one group saying to the other, we just want to know what's going on before I invest any more money and time into this. More time, not money for on the Trout side of thing. But he wants to know if he's should invest any more time in his career. You remember, he is 30. I think he's 32 years old, and he probably wants to go out and win something and have a bit of a chance to be a legacy guy. Yeah, you can say you have all the be in the Hall of Fame, but you still haven't done anything. You haven't won anything in the last 3 years. He's been hurt a lot, missed over 200 games, I believe, in the last 3 years. It has not been good for Mr. Trout. So you got to think that this conversation that he had that was going to be open with the Angels was just not so much posturing, but more of a both sides getting ahead of the game a little bit and saying, okay, what's the plan moving forward? What's the plan for me? What's the plan for you? What are you guys doing? Are you going to make some trades? Like I said, the Angels probably should have traded Shohei Ohtani when they had a chance at the deadline, and go and get some prospects and go and get some guys moving forward and try to get that team moving in the right direction, because they went for it, and they went for it for about 6 weeks, and not even 6 weeks, I think 4 or 5 weeks total, and they found themselves out of a playoff race. And then they all the guys that they traded for at the deadline, and they emptied out their cachet of prospects. Went and got a bunch of guys, and then they come in and they released and put them on waivers a week and a half ago, and all those guys are gone now. So the Angels in general are a mess, as they always have been and always will be, I think, until they do get rid of the Mike Trout situation. It's going to be interesting to see what happens there, because there is no real game plan year in, year out. It's nothing new in Angels land that there's nothing going forward. Is this a situation that the Angels put this report out there to Bob Nightingale that they twisted some words a little bit? Is it become a he said, she said, he said this, and so now we have a way of getting rid of them? Is this a situation like the Oilers had with Wayne Gretzky back in 1988, where the trade rumor was out there, and then he finally just said, you know what? Yeah, we could back out of this trade, but you know what? Let's move on. You don't want me here anymore. You expressed interest to get rid of me. So let's go ahead and do it, and I can go on my merry way and see what we can do for Mike Trout Incorporated. He's going to get paid no matter what. He's got owed $245 million over the next 7 years, so that's 36 million, $35 million bucks a year. And the age of he's at the age of 31, 32. It's a cautionary tale for a lot of teams to go out and sign this guy or to go and trade for this guy, because what are you going to get out of this guy at the age of 31, 32? You might get 3 good years out of him, and then you got 4 more years after that at $35 million bucks a year. The deal right now is probably a sweetheart of a deal for the next 3 years at $105 million bucks. But it's the 4 years after that, and that you're going to see a lot of teams are going to be walking away from these kind of deals with these older guys. Like realistically, like I don't want to turn this into a Yankee situation, but it's kind of like how the Aaron Judge contract is. How many years of great baseball they have of him? Remember, this is the first year of his $40 million buck a year contract, and he's 29, 30 years old. So they probably only have 2 or 3 years left of him at the height of his career, and you're going to start to see a decline what you got going with him. So what you're going to see with the Angels, I think you're going to have a team that's going to be looking for another team to take on a good part of that contract. You're going to see the Angels say, okay, we'll trade the other teams are going to say, okay, we'll take Mike Trout off your hands for depleted not depleted, but lesser known prospects, because we need you to pay some money for this, because we don't want to just to take Mike Trout, pay the amount of money that you want us to that you signed the contract for. We don't want to pay the $35 million that you signed the contract for. We're not going to give you our best prospects and take on that contract. We're not going to do that. So you're going to see that the Angels aren't going to get a very good return on investment with Mike Trout. They're not going to get everything they wanted on him. They should have traded him maybe a year ago. They should have traded Ohtani a year ago and started a rebuild fresh. You're going to see that the Angels are not going to end up getting anywhere near what the dollar value is worth for the next 3 years. They're going to say you'll take on $15 to $20 million of that contract, or $17 million. We'll pay half, you pay half, and you're going to get our 4th best starter and our 5th best center fielder, and the prospect range will be like that. It's not going to be anything near that what he's garnered to get, and you're going to see a Mike Trout not get what he would be worth on the open market. The thing you got with the Mike Trout situation as well is only about 4 or 5 teams who would possibly be in the running for a guy making that kind of money at his age. You can't even think about the Yankees doing it. A team that I could see maybe having a jump into that thing would be a team like the San Diego Padres. I think Soto is going to walk out of there in the offseason. And you got to think that a team like the Padres might go out and get them, because they don't mind spending some money. They had a very, very less than stellar year so far. So you got to think that they're going to be in the market for a Mike Trout if he is on the market. Maybe a team like the Phillies, if they don't get something done this year, if they don't win a World Series, because he is linked to Phillies. He's a Pennsylvania boy, I believe, or he's Jersey, but South Philly or South Pennsylvania, whatever it is there. But you got to think that might be the only 1, 2, or 3 teams that are going to be in the market for a guy making that kind of money. And at the height of his injury-plagued seasons, you don't know what that could happen. Was Bob Nightingale probably just a lot of this clickbait? Probably. Was it a lot of hoo-ha? Probably. Will it be a situation where he doesn't go anywhere? I don't think he's going to go anywhere, because I don't think that the Angels will get anything on their investment that they've already put into this guy. Because it was earlier this season, or was it last season? It doesn't much matter. But the Angels were rumored to be for sale, and all of a sudden, if you trade your biggest asset, all of a sudden your franchise it kind of goes down a little bit, because it's tough just to sell to a new owner and to that fan base that your best player, your best 2 players are gone this year, and so you're going to see. I think you're going to see Trout stick around Anaheim. It's a contract he should have never signed. Yeah, he's rich beyond belief. He's making more money than ever would have thought he would ever make. But I don't think it was a great situation for a Mike Mike Trout looking where that team has gone and looking for where that team is going. And I don't think he's getting out of there anytime soon. And you have an Ohtani who's leaving. So you have two of the best players to ever play the game that didn't do a damn thing for that franchise. And now you have a situation where Mike Trout, he may want out. Who knows? They're going to invest. They're going to talk about it 100%. But now you have a situation where it's just not a thing that's going to happen. They don't have any light moving forward. And it's too bad that a guy with that kind of talent is going to end up being gone into the abyss very soon with that team in Anaheim. Will he go somewhere? Like I said, I highly doubt it. I can't see him getting traded. I can't see, because the return isn't worth it. The money that they're going to have to pay for the prospects won't be worth it. To have a guy there that's not going to make a bunch of money, or to not win a bunch, it's just a bad situation. And the Angels probably want to get rid of him. They probably want to say, you know what, this didn't work on our side. We didn't put the players around him that we should have. We didn't have the scouting staff, the pitching, the on and on it goes. We didn't do Mike Trout. We didn't do Mike Trout any favors by any means with what we put out there in front of him, and we're not going to win a championship with him, and we're not going to pay to lose with him or lose without him. So he's going to stay there. It'd be really tough to try to get a team to eat $35 million for an aging guy who's missed 200 plus games the last 3 years, and I don't think you're going to see a Mike Trout going anywhere. It's sad to say that this guy's career has kind of gone the way it has. He hasn't not going to get a chance to win. I'm not saying it's 100% that he's going to stay with the Angels, but I'm going to say it's about 95%. You can mark that down there on 14:20 in the morning. You can mark that down at whatever time of day it is here at that 10:12 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. I just don't see him going anywhere. I can't see why anybody would trade for him. He's a great talent, but that money is a cautionary tale for a lot of teams that they're going to eke away from these guys, because the way the game is played now and the way that these guys, and you have pitchers who don't want to pitch anymore, and you go out and get this prospect and that prospect, and that's all they are, is just prospect and hope. Teams value prospects a lot, but the return on investment for Mike Trout for the $35 million, it just isn't there. And the money that they've already spent to this point, and to trade the face of your franchise, one of the best players, and getting nothing back for it's going to be a huge mistake. So that's my thoughts on the Mike Trout situation moving forward, and we'll see how it all pans out. But you're going to see it in the very near future. I think if there is a deal to get done, it'll get done before the winter meetings. It'll be done by the end of November, kind of deal, and one of those deals that I just don't see happening. And the free agent market, maybe it will get done, because the big deal is the free agent market isn't that deep this year. Like the Ohtani thing is going to be huge, obviously, but the free agent market isn't that deep this offseason. So maybe a team's going to go out there and get him. Will Philly, if they don't get it, like maybe Philly will go out and do something if they don't win a World Series this year. I don't think they're going to, because the Braves are so damn good. And then, but maybe a San Diego might go out there and get him. Wouldn't that be something to see Ohtani playing for the Dodgers and Mike Trout playing for the San Diego Padres? And maybe there would be some animosity there playing against each other, and see how it goes. Mike Trout did get a bit of some fire in his belly playing the World Baseball Classic back in March, and he saw what important baseball meant. So maybe that's something that he is open. That's maybe a reason why he is open to going on the trade market and going somewhere to win games, not being out of the playoff race come June 1st, which he's been out for quite some time. So it's just what Bob Nightingale might have, like I said, might have been just clickbait. It might have been a situation where he thought he was going to get something done, and they're pressing the thing forward. I think it was a he said, she said situation where we're just going to be a conversation between the two groups. It probably happens every year, no matter what. So it should be interesting to see how it all plays out. But it's going to be a fun baseball season. But yeah, the thing that I read this morning, this is crazy. I don't know why I didn't open with this one, but Alek Manoah, we've been on him since basically day one. He had a rough start with the Jays going forward. He had he was their opening day starter, and then after 6-7 starts, they sent him down to the minors, actually not even the minors, down to the complex league, which is even worse than the minors. And you see how that's all turned out. And a few weeks back, they sent him back down to the minors again after a couple of starts up in the big leagues against some pretty bad teams like Detroit Tigers. I think he had a start there, and they sent him down to Buffalo to get some work in, because he wasn't pitching very well. And the $760,000 I think they're paying him this year hasn't been money well invested. In baseball terms, $760 for your opening day starter isn't that big of a deal. But basically, Manoah didn't even report, didn't go. He didn't show up in Buffalo, so he's done for the season. As all reports said yesterday, that he's not going to be pitching anywhere in the Jays organization for the rest of this season. And then I also read that he hasn't even been throwing on the side, throwing bullpens, doing anything to improve himself. And it's one of those things where that's the modern day pitcher for you. They don't get their way. The modern day athlete, they don't get their way. And thanks by Sia. Is that the kind of guy you want on your team? Probably not. Is that the kind of guy you want in your locker room? Probably not. Is that a guy who has the betterment of the team in his hindsight? Not at all. Alek Manoah, whoever's giving him the advice that he's getting is an obvious moron. Is Manoah giving him the voice between his ears? Is that who's giving him the advice? I hope it's just him and him telling himself how great he is, because if it's somebody else, he needs to distance himself from that person. But Manoah is a me guy. Obviously, he like I said it earlier on this year. Maybe he was one of those guys who was driving by the gym in his new car instead of stopping at the gym in his new car and working out and everything else, because it has not worked for him. Has not worked for the Jays, and he's arbitration friendly for the next 3 years. So the Jays don't even got to sign him. They can keep him under $1 million for the next 4 years if they even want him around. He's an untradeable asset now, because he walked out on his team basically. So who's going to take a flyer on that guy? Who's going to take a chance on that guy? Is he a talent? Yep, but he didn't show it this year. And if that's what you're going to get out of Alek Manoah, quitting on his team, quitting on the franchise, quitting on a team that invested, they don't pay him a lot, like $760,000. I mean, I'd take it obviously, but to walk out on that team on your team like that is a bad look. And to the money that they invested in the minors and drafting and developing and everything and on it goes, how much money gets spent on these prospects is quite alarming. And for him to basically just walk away from his team, that's a kick in the Jays' nuts, because if he would have had just a half decent season, the Jays wouldn't be fighting for their playoff lives right now, and they would have 6 or 7 more wins at the very minimum. But Manoah is a selfish today's athlete, quote unquote. And it's a really bad look. It's a really bad look on Alek Manoah. And I hope the best for him. I hope the best for the Jays. But I would think that'll be the last you ever see of Alek Manoah in a Toronto Blue Jays uniform for forever and ever. I think he's the betrayed bait. But once again, what do you get for that investment? Who's going to want a guy who quit on his team? You're not going to get nothing for the guy. So see you later. Thanks. Bye. See you to Alek Manoah. You're happy trails to you, and you'll never be in a Jays uniform ever again. Anyways, here's a little word from our friends at SeatGeek.
The foul baller. If there's a ball that's gone foul, he's gone to get it. Under his watchful gaze, all bevs, binoculars, and ballpark brats are safe. He's the only thing that stands between his section and certain destruction. That's why he only trusts SeatGeek with his tickets. The ticketing app trusted by fans. SeatGeek, so fans can fan.
Thank you very much to SeatGeek for sponsoring the 1420 Sports Bar podcast, 1420 in the morning, and everything else we got going on here at World Headquarters. Remember, use promo code 1420pod at SeatGeek.com today to save yourself $20 on your first purchase of whatever sporting event, or even a concert or a show, whatever you're going to. Once the fall season hits, man, it's crazy. It's that time of year, but that's the way calendars work, right? So it's not really that crazy. Anyways, let's get to on this day and some birthdays and get you guys out of here. On this day in 1984, New York Mets rookie Dwight Gooden set the rookie strikeout record at 251 as he struck out 16 Pittsburgh Pirates in a complete game shutout in the Mets' 2-0 victory over the Pirates in front of 12,876 people at Shea Stadium in Flushing, Queens, New York. Gooden finished the season with 276 Ks and a 17-9 record and 31 starts for the Mets, who finished the season 6.5 games back of the Cubs in the National League East. Gooden finished his major league career pitching in parts of 16 seasons throughout the leagues, all over everywhere. He's a hell of a pitcher, but he finished with 2,293 strikeouts, good for 58th all time. You just wonder why that guy's career could have went without his substance abuse problems and everything else. Those 30 for 30s are great about the Mets when they won the World Series, and he was too busy on a coke binge and everything else to even go celebrate. It's a crazy story, Dwight Gooden. But on this day in '84, he set the rookie strikeout record, which I believe still is held to this day. And this is a good one. Happy 34th birthday to Freddie Freeman, born on this day in 1989 in Villa Park, California. Freeman was drafted in the second round of the 2007 Major League Baseball draft from El Modena High School in Orange, California by the Atlanta Braves. Freeman is in his 14th Major League Baseball season, second with the Dodgers after 12 with the Atlanta Braves, has a career batting average of .301 with 317 home runs, 1,132 RBIs in what I think is already a Hall of Fame career. One World Series under his belt, 7-time All-Star and an MVP award along with the Braves back in 2020. So happy birthday to Freddie Freeman. I think that boy is in the Hall of Fame already. There's no getting around that. And he seems to be one of the good guys in the game of baseball, one of the good guys in sports. So once again, happy birthday to Freddie Freeman, born on this day in 1989 in California. He's got Canadian ties. I think his mom is Canadian. He played for Team Canada in the World Baseball Classic. So that makes him an even better person. Canadians are awful. Most of us are pretty nice people. Most of us, not all of us, but most of us. Anyways, that's 14:20 in the morning for this 12th day of September. Make sure you guys check out Dave and I did a great show last night. Had a lot of fun wrapping up week one of the National Football League season. We had a lot of laughs, a lot of talking. We don't get down to the X and O's and everything else. The way we break down football, we break down 14:20 style like you would in your local sports bar. That's what we're trying to accomplish here at 14:20 World Headquarters. Thank you very much for listening to our show. Remember to check out bellyupsports.com and all their great articles and everything else and other podcasts. Tune into if you get a chance tonight, 6 o'clock Mountain Standard Time, make sure you check out Craft Brewed Sports. They always put a great show on there. Mike and the guys put on a fantastic show. Like I said, it's going to be interesting to hear what Caesar has to say about the Longhorns' victory over the Alabama Crimson Tide on Saturday. So once again, thank you very much for listening to the show. And remember, it doesn't matter where you are, it's who you're with. Have a good day, folks. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
You just listened to the 1420 Sports Bar Podcast. 4 beer with the sports talk and a whole lot more. We are part of the Belly Up Media Network. Let's get into it.